Just after Mrs. May spoke yesterday in the debate about immigration, a Scottish MP, Alison, stood up wearing bright yellow, that her trademark colour, and she spoke about a mosaic in the United Nations, and she spoke about the golden rule that this represented: do unto others as you would have them do to you. This is the golden rule quoted in the New Testament. It also effectively is the categorical imperative of Kant. Would we want other people to treat us as we propose to treat refugees who are making their way across the English Channel for whatever reason, perfectly legitimate reasons perhaps? Also, of course, there are frauds and what are termed economic migrants, but there are, among those legitimate refugees who are looking for security, looking for help, maybe she mentions a person who has a distant uncle, the only relative living in the UK. And when that person finds themselves on the UK shores, they can take no other route, because there are no other legal and safe routes. They will find themselves without a lawyer, without sanctuary, without chance. She calls this an abhorrent dog whistle that runs roughshod through the internationally agreed Refugee Convention 1951, EU conventions, Human Rights Acts, and so on. This is a bill, she says, that has been rushed through Parliament when on the back of another bill, the Nationality and Borders Act, that is barely in place from last year. And she says that it's a bill that even in the preamble confirms that it's unable to guarantee that what is in it is compatible with human rights legislation, something that all bills are supposed to confirm. It undermines, she says, fundamental international agreements. As I say, she spoke just after Theresa May, and I think the combination of the philosophical, theological, and weighty concerns she draws on give this a significant tone. This is not about grasping for some sort of political advancement. This is about dealing with the fundamental ethics that underpin our society. It's about recognizing that Churchill, that significant British politicians were behind the structure of the big conventions which are going to be ignored and destroyed. It's not for nothing that great international bodies have now condemned this bill before it even gets through its second reading. It's now through its second reading, but it's got a minimum amount of support, given the fact that the Conservative Party has such a staggering majority in the House of Commons. 260 votes. That means some significant abstentions and absolutely no support at all from the rest of the House. I think even if this gets into the final stages of law, I mean, for of course now it's going to go to the House of Lords, and the convention is that the House of Lords cannot block the bill. It could pause the bill for up to 2 years, but because some elements of this bill are included in the election manifesto, there is a convention that the Lords will effectively nod this through. They might wrangle over some paragraphs, but they will nod it through. It's very worrying. Now, as I said the other day, I think this law is window dressing, is rhetoric and theatre. But it's theatre that can do a lot of harm. This is the theatre not so much of the absurd, but the theatre of cruelty. And I think we need to be very careful.